Hi, my name is Yusuke, and our team, including Dimitri, Colin, Jeremy, and Yuxi, has worked on the project to improve robotic policy inference using synthetic observation. Let's first look into the snapshot of current robotics and AI field. For robot, it is good at what it has trained on, but unlike human, they are not good at unseen tasks. So they're often applied to specialized tasks that they've been trained on. In AI field, there's a big trend on neural networks combined with a large-scale internet data, as demonstrated by Stable Diffusion and ChatGPT. So the key thing to ask here is how can we leverage the knowledge from AI trained with internet scale data to robotics so that they can utilize those knowledge? Here's the idea we had to tackle the problem. As explained, robot is not good at working on unseen tasks, and it fails on picking white and blue sneakers. What we do here is to use generative AI, such as Stable Diffusion, to transform the unseen observation into seen observation robot has trained on before. ROSO is the name of the pipeline we implemented, and is short for Robotic Policy Inference via synthetic observations. Essentially, in this case, robot thinks it is acting on a seen task. In reality, it is an unseen task. These are the key questions to our approach ROSO. First, to what extent is our approach effective for various unseen tasks? And second, what editing methods work the best? In the image below, on the top row, we have the original observations for various tasks. From left on color domain, middle object domain, and on the right, unseen background. For each task, we create the corresponding synthetic observations and run experiment on a robotics policy to find out the success rate.
In our work, we use the same simulation environment and tasks that Clipboard uses in their paper. This is to reproduce a Clipboard baseline we can evaluate ROSO pipeline against. Speaking of ROSO, it is a collection of three main modules: the instruction modification module, the GSAM masking module, and the Stable Diffusion image editing module. Given an initial language instruction and visual observation that Clipboard receives, we take that language instruction and observation from in ROSO, and we first modify the language instruction, changing the initial object into a new object we want to inpaint into the image. GSAM then identifies the original object, segments it, and masks it, and we use that information through Stable Diffusion to inpaint the new object into the scene. In this case, we have replaced the white and blue sneakers with a green and white striped towel. We're hoping that through this modification, the Clipboard policy will perform better than it was before. Going a little more deeper into the modules, the instruction modification module can modify the initial language instruction in three different ways. If the initial instruction is very color context heavy, we can just change the color of the initial object. For example, if Clipboard is aware of red but not blue, we might change a blue cube into a red cube and then have it pick in place. We can alter the initial language instruction based on the semantic meaning. For example, if you look at the third row here, the lion figure is replaced with a rhino figure. These are both animals, and screwdriver is replaced with scissors. These are both tools. Semantic meaning is preserved. And finally, we can replace the initial object with a new object, which we know empirically Stable Diffusion has a very easy time in painting. We do this because if Stable Diffusion has very easy time in painting this object, then it leads to higher fidelity in painting and a greater success rate.
Moving on to masking, to be able to alter the visual observation OT and replace the unseen objects with seen objects, we first needed to identify the object of interest. Finding and labeling these objects by hand would be time-consuming, so it was automated using an image segmentation model called Grounded Segment Anything, or GSAM. This is a generalized AI segmentation method that can be used to obtain a mask of unseen data, such as unseen color, novel objects, or unseen backgrounds, simply by using a text prompt. The bottom right here shows the segmented parts that can be used and changed by generative models. Moving on to stable diffusion image editing, our approach involves changing part of the input image, such as the object or the background. This can be achieved using inpainting, in which given a mask such as that produced by GSAM, can fill in the area of the mask using image generation. In particular, we specifically use stable diffusion inpainting, which is a latent text-to-image diffusion model that is capable of generating photorealistic images given a text prompt, mask, and image. This image on the slide shows examples of inpainting by replacing unseen objects into seen objects. For example, the dinosaur figure here has been changed to a green and white striped cow. Moving on to our overall experiments and results. We can see that synthetic data was generated and used on unseen colors, unseen objects, as well as unseen backgrounds. In comparison to the results from previous work, working on the unseen data with the inclusion of synthetic observations helped achieve greater success overall. The data in the slide shows our ran experiments for different types of tasks. We reran the failed runs for the unseen data task and combined it with synthetic data observations. This yielded better success rates overall. The key takeaways are that using this synthetic data pushed ROSO into approaching the trained robot policy. We also observed that changing the background color was the most effective, while changing both the unseen objects and backgrounds was the most challenging overall and resulted in the lowest success rate increase.
There were two different methods used when editing the images. The first method with the whole image being fed to Stable Diffusion, and the second method where only the objects within the detected object frame is fed to Stable Diffusion. Examples for two tasks can be seen below, with the regions inside the red square being the regions passed to Stable Diffusion. It can be seen that only using just the object within the detected frame yielded higher quality object generation. Similarly, there were two different methods used when modifying the instruction. The first was to modify the object in the instruction according to the semantic meaning, allowing it to be modified into a conceptually similar object. The other method is modifying the object according to the image edit quality of the modified object, with examples of both methods being shown below. It was found that modifying both based on the quality of the image edit quality performed better due to the higher quality image and unique patterns being more recognizable for the robotic policy model. These methods were then combined into three different combinations, leading to method A, B, and C. We can see from the results that method C was the most effective for both tasks that also corresponds with the test for each method individually. The pipeline had a few common points of failure. These were notably GSAM masking the wrong object, leading to the edited object being incorrect, poor image editing quality from either Stable Diffusion model quality or a vague editing prompt that led to an image that was not suitable for clipport. There is also the case of the alignment between an AI model and clipport, as both models may have different ideas of an object, leading to Stable Diffusion generating one version of an object, but clipport being unable to identify it due to only knowing another version. So in conclusion, we were able to achieve our goals of investigating different editing methods and also using generative AI to solve unseen tasks. Now, some areas of further research could possibly be how we could implement this on a physical robotic system, or how we can distinguish between a seen and unseen task without running the model first.
Thank you for listening. Please check out our webpage for paper, code, and more demonstrations.